Who really built the pyramids of Egypt? Were they extraterrestrial beings? Giants, maybe? Or could it have been an advanced and ancient civilization, possessing a now-lost technology of which we have no record? Or perhaps the inhabitants of the mythical Atlantis? Next, we will explore the various explanations that have been offered for the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, and examine the evidence on which they base their claims, if any. We will then take a journey through history, from the construction of the first pyramid in Egypt to the impressive Great Pyramids of Giza. Before we get started, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with our latest content. And be sure to stick around until the end of the video, where we'll reveal what the archaeological evidence tells us about who built the world's most iconic pyramids and how they did it. Over the years, several unconventional explanations have emerged as to who built the pyramids of Egypt, especially the Great Pyramids of Giza. Some of these alternative proposals have gained popularity, fueling imagination and conspiracy theories. These ideas, which tend to dismiss the abilities of the ancient Egyptians and seek extraordinary explanations, are based on assumptions without scientific foundation. Below is a list of the most popular theories. Aliens or extraterrestrials? Perhaps the most famous theory. This one suggests that the pyramids were built with the help of extraterrestrial beings due to the precision and magnitude of the construction. Proponents argue that the Egyptians would not have had the knowledge and technology to build such imposing structures. There is no scientific evidence to support this idea, but it has been widely disseminated in popular culture through shows like Ancient Aliens and books that explore the idea of ancient astronauts. Advanced civilizations disappeared. According to this proposal, the pyramids were built by an earlier and much more advanced civilization than the Egyptians. This civilization, whose existence is not documented, is believed to have possessed superior scientific and technological knowledge and then disappeared without a trace. There are no archaeological remains to support the existence of such a civilization, and studies indicate that the pyramids were built within the context of known Egyptian history. Atlantis. This theory connects the builders of the pyramids with the inhabitants of the legendary Atlantis, a supposedly advanced civilization that, according to the Greek philosopher Plato, sank beneath the sea. It is argued that the Atlanteans possessed extraordinary technology and built the pyramids before their continent disappeared. There is no archaeological or historical evidence to confirm the existence of Atlantis, much less that its inhabitants had any relationship with the construction of the pyramids. Giants. This proposal claims that the pyramids were built by giants, mythological beings mentioned in various ancient cultures. His enormous strength would have facilitated the placement of the enormous stone blocks used in the pyramids. There is no scientific or archaeological evidence to support the existence of giants or their participation in the construction of the pyramids. Lost technology or advanced knowledge. Some theorists argue that the Egyptians possessed advanced technology that is now lost, such as tools capable of precisely cutting stone or machines that used anti-gravitational energy to move the enormous blocks. This knowledge would have been forgotten over time. The tools and construction methods used by the Egyptians have been well documented. There is no evidence that they had access to more advanced technology than we know of. Supernatural forces. According to this theory, the pyramids were built with the help of supernatural forces, such as magic or divine powers. It is said that the ancient Egyptians had the assistance of gods or mystical beings who made these imposing constructions possible. This explanation is based more on Egyptian mythology and religious culture than on concrete archaeological or historical evidence. Hebrew slaves of the Exodus. Popularized by the biblical narrative, this theory holds that the Hebrew slaves mentioned in the Exodus account were the builders of the pyramids under the oppression of the Pharaoh. This idea has been consolidated in popular culture through films and religious texts. Archaeological studies have shown that the pyramids of Giza were built around 2570 BC, well before the time traditionally attributed to the biblical Exodus, making this explanation unlikely. Secret societies or Freemasons. Some theorists suggest that secret societies, such as the Freemasons, or occult groups, are somehow connected with the construction of the pyramids or possess hidden knowledge about how they were built. This theory combines esoteric elements with symbolism associated with these organizations. There is no historical or archaeological evidence linking these societies with the construction of the pyramids. Furthermore, the Freemasons emerged thousands of years after the construction of the pyramids. Anunnaki, ancient astronaut theory. According to this proposal, the Anunnaki, gods of Sumerian mythology, were actually extraterrestrials who came to Earth to exploit its resources and who would have used humans as slaves to build the pyramids. This theory is a variant of the ancient astronaut hypothesis. There is no scientific evidence to support the existence of the Anunnaki as extraterrestrials, or their involvement in the construction of the pyramids. However, it has been promoted by authors such as Zecharia Sitchin, who has interpreted ancient Sumerian texts in a controversial way. Pyramids as energy conductors. Some propose that the pyramids were not mere tombs, but generators or conductors of some kind of unknown energy. These theories suggest that the pyramids were aligned with magnetic fields or cosmic energy currents, and that their purpose went beyond funerary use. No archaeological evidence has been found to suggest that the pyramids were built for technological or energy purposes. Studies indicate that they were funerary monuments with religious and symbolic purposes. Before the pyramids, tombs built for the pharaohs of the Old Kingdom in Egypt were called mastaba. A mastaba is an ancient Egyptian funerary structure that predates the pyramids. It has a rectangular shape, with flat roofs and sloping sides that slope down at an angle. Mastabas were used as tombs for pharaohs and nobility during the early dynasties of ancient Egypt, around 3100 BC. Inside, they contained underground burial chambers, where the sarcophagus was placed, as well as chapels and chambers for the funerary goods. The first pyramid to be built was the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, designed by the architect Imhotep for the 3rd dynasty pharaoh Djoser around 2670 BC. The architect Imhotep designed and supervised the construction of the Step Pyramid at Saqqara for pharaoh Djoser. Imhotep was an influential figure, considered one of the first recognized architects and engineers in history, as well as a high official of the pharaoh. Imhotep was later worshipped as a god of medicine and was identified with Asclepius, or Aesculapius, in Greco-Roman tradition. Its legacy endured for centuries, both through its impact on Egyptian architecture and its influence on medicine and healing. The Step Pyramid was built as a monumental tomb for pharaoh Djoser. Instead of a traditional mastaba, Imhotep designed the Step Pyramid as a series of mastabas stacked on top of each other, representing a significant advance in funerary architecture. This structure symbolized a ladder through which the pharaoh could ascend to join the gods in the afterlife. The Bent Pyramid. It was built around 2600 BC in Dashur. This pyramid has a steep slope at its base, but the incline changes to a gentler angle at the top, giving it its characteristic shape. Besides the Step Pyramid of Djoser and the pyramids of Snefru, another notable pyramid is the Pyramid of Mitam, which initially began as a step pyramid during the reign of Pharaoh Huni, late 3rd dynasty, but was modified by Snefru in an attempt to turn it into a smooth-sided pyramid. It partially collapsed and did not survive in its original form. The Red Pyramid. Built shortly after the Bent Pyramid, also at Dashur, around 2590 BC, it is considered the first smooth-sided pyramid to be successfully completed. The early pyramids were built primarily from limestone blocks quarried from nearby mines. In the interiors, lower-grade stone was sometimes used, while Tura limestone, a softer white limestone, was used to cover the exterior faces, providing a shiny, polished appearance. Pyramids of Giza. They represent the pinnacle of pyramid construction. Each pyramid is more precise and monumental than the last, with more advanced design and greater efficiency in construction. The Pyramid of Cheops is the largest and most accurate, while the other two, although smaller, are still impressive architectural achievements. The outer covers of many pyramids, including those at Giza, were lost over time due to the extraction of materials by the Egyptians for other constructions. Who built the pyramids of Egypt and how did they do it? Archaeologists and Egyptologists have collected a wide range of evidence supporting the claim that the Egyptian pyramids were built by skilled Egyptian workers, and not by slaves or alien or lost civilizations, as some conspiracy theories suggest. This evidence includes archaeological discoveries, historical studies, inscriptions, tools, and human remains that offer a clear insight into how these monumental projects were carried out. Below, we detail some of the main evidence supporting the theory that the pyramids were built by skilled Egyptian workers. Remains of workers' villages. Discovery of villages near the pyramids. In the 1990s, workers' settlements were discovered near the pyramids of Giza. These villages included houses, kitchens, storehouses, tombs, and other facilities that indicate the existence of an organized community. The workers living in these villages were well fed and received medical care, suggesting that they were not slaves but professional workers. Food and medical care, animal remains, and food have been found in these settlements, indicating that workers received a nutritious diet. Evidence has also been found that some workers received medical attention, with bones showing signs of having been healed after fractures. This reinforces the idea that these workers were valued and not exploited as slaves. Tombs of workers. Several tombs of workers involved in the construction of the pyramids have been discovered near the Giza complex. These tombs do not belong to royalty, but are located in areas close to the pyramids, showing that these workers were honored and respected for their work. The fact that they were buried near the monuments they helped build shows that they were free people, not slaves, and that they were given a certain status for their work. Inscriptions on tombs. Some tombs include inscriptions identifying workers as part of the pyramid construction teams. These inscriptions provide further evidence that these workers were Egyptian citizens performing a service to their country and were not enslaved people. Inside the pyramids and on some of the stone blocks used in their construction, inscriptions and graffiti have been found that mention the names of the teams of workers. For example, in the Great Pyramid of Cheops, Khufu, inscriptions have been discovered that mention teams called the Friends of Khufu, or the Drunkards of Menkaure. These inscriptions reveal that the workers were organized into groups and had a sense of camaraderie. Hieroglyphics and supply lists. Hieroglyphic texts have been found at various construction sites documenting the amount of materials used, work equipment, and records of food and supplies for workers. This demonstrates meticulous planning and state organization directed by the pharaohs. Construction tools. Many tools used by the Egyptians to build the pyramids have been found, including stone hammers, copper chisels, and saws. These tools match the technological knowledge of the time, and studies have shown that they would have been effective in cutting and shaping stone blocks. Methods of transport. Archaeologists have also discovered depictions and models of how the ancient Egyptians transported large stone blocks. The most accepted method is that the blocks were placed on wooden sleds that were dragged over prepared paths or ramps. Some reliefs show the technique of wetting the sand in front of the sleds to reduce friction, making it easier to transport the huge blocks. State planning. Documents have been found showing that the pyramid construction projects were organized and managed by the Egyptian state. The pharaoh and his administration coordinated the construction efforts, the logistics of transporting the materials, and the provision of food and resources for the workers. Rotational labor. Studies indicate that workers did not work on the construction of the pyramids year-round, but probably did so in rotating periods of time, possibly during the Nile flooding seasons when they were unable to work in agriculture. This suggests that the construction of the pyramids was a massive state collaborative project, in which thousands of workers participated for limited periods. The chronology of the construction of the pyramids is well documented and corresponds with the reigns of the pharaohs of the 4th dynasty, such as Cheops, Khufu, Khafre, Khafra, and Mycerinus, Menkaure. The pyramids were built as tombs for these pharaohs, and historical and archaeological evidence points to the construction being an organized effort by the Egyptian state to honor its rulers and secure them a place in eternity. Absence of records of slavery. Although some ancient texts mention the existence of slaves in Egypt, there are no contemporary records suggesting that the pyramids were built by slaves. In fact, records show that construction projects were managed by a class of artisans and skilled workers who were actively involved in the state's large projects. The combination of archaeological evidence, including the remains of workers' villages, inscriptions, tools, and tombs, together with the historical context, strongly supports the idea that the pyramids were built by skilled Egyptian workers, organized by the state. These monumental projects were part of a collective effort by Egyptian society, coordinated by the pharaohs and their administrations, to glorify their reigns and ensure their immortality. And what do you think? Do you believe that the pyramids of Egypt were built by beings whose existence we have no evidence of, or that it was the work of the ancient Egyptians? Do you think they were built by skilled workers or by slaves? Leave us your opinion in the comments. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you want us to cover a specific topic, please write it in the comments. Give this video a like and share it so your family and friends can also learn about who built the pyramids of Egypt. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. And don't miss our recommended video at the end. You will enjoy it. Never forget, history is the imitator of time, the repository of actions, the witness of the past, the example and warning of the present, the caution for the future.